I'm going to start it off. Let me just make sure that I am live everywhere where I need to be live. For those who don't know, this show is on Facebook, it's on YouTube, it's on TikTok, man. We're trying very hard to give you this here football conversation on this platform. So please, if you can support, that is incredible. And we are good on Facebook. Let me just make sure that my sound is connected properly and everything is working as it should. Those who are jumping in now, just let me know there in the comments if you can hear me and that my sound is fine. Let me just check this last one here, then we can start the show proper. Okay, there we go. I think we're good everywhere where we need to be good. So I will go ahead and start the show. Oh, Stormy. Welcome everybody to the Overthinking Football Show. My name is George Mokwena. I am your host. This show is on every Monday to Friday, 12:30 in the afternoon, and then also Monday to Wednesday we do 8 p.m. Episodes. If we're not on, we're probably doing a watch along, which we're going to be doing tonight for Mamelodi Sundowns at 7:30. So join me for that too. If you want to watch any of the previous episodes, guys, we've had some of the greatest footballing conversations on this here show with the panels that I bring on with you guys, the people who watch the show. And they are available in full on Facebook and on YouTube. You can head on over there and watch them. Months of the live shows, of other footballing content that I do, of short form content. There's a lot of things that are available on those two platforms. So do me the favor of following this TikTok account, following the Facebook page, and also subscribing to YouTube. Okay. Last night we watched Orlando Pirates versus Moroka Swallows. That was the match from yesterday. And with matches that happen at Orlando, we get press conferences. So let's hear what the two coaches had to say about the game. Shout out to Diski fans for making these visuals available to us. Yeah, let's hear, starting with Coach Steve. Let's hear what he had to say.
Pirates versus Moroka Swallows, original derby post-match press conference. We're joined by the away coach, Coach Steve Kompela. Welcome, Coach.
Thank you, Sister.
Coach, if you may just give us a brief summary of the match from your perspective, please.
I think first, congratulations to Orlando Pirates for winning the match. They played a good match, and we obviously came here with our own little challenges, of which I think we did well. We overcame them. Coming here, and your squad, there's been 5 forced changes. You never expect the new inclusions to cope 90 minutes, and in my opinion, they did extremely well, irrespective of the outcome. And when it comes to the match itself, I thought it was a very tactical match. Tactical in a sense that a lot of footballing components were displayed. A lot of footballing questions were asked, and the benches and the coaches and the players tried their best to answer to those questions. In reference to that, you saw how Orlando Pirates made it difficult for us to build from the back, because they know that we are stubborn, insistent on building from the back, which I think we well structured. And we never gave up our strategy or our model because we had changed the players, which then talks to you have a structure and a system that talks to the team, irrespective who comes in or goes out. And Orlando Pirates coped, and adapted to that. We also, in my opinion, I think we were very successful in forcing them long. There were moments where a goalkeeper would want to start from the back, and we put a lot of bodies on top of their box and tried to see, will they be stubborn and insistent to come out? At some stages, they risked, and they could feel like, let's go for other options tactically. And when we put more numbers and bodies on top of their box, then it left us vulnerable on top, because you cannot put high pressure without bringing your line along. Otherwise, you lose your compactness. But then, if a striker hangs on a goal kick, there's no way they would be offside. So we needed then to adapt to, okay, we are on top of their box, and we're leaving one-on-ones on top. Are we prepared to leave Lepasa or any of their attackers alone with our center backs? We're brave enough to do that. But as soon as they touched the ball, it got to play. That center back then dropped in halfway to apply the offside rule. To me, that was interesting. It's a small detail, but scholars of the game will observe that and say, okay, these people are intentional about what they are doing. These people know what they are doing, and what they are doing is relatable to where the football game is going, and also with Orlando Pirates. So to me, that was the beauty of the match, which is what I said on my post-match interview, that at the back of a defeat, it's rare to come out satisfied and pleased, because what I saw in terms of application to me from the players we put in and from the opponent we played, they were talking the game, and which is a big challenge in a culture where, as the game evolves, there's a reluctance from participants to evolve with the game. I'll cite an example. Previously, the English game was all about crossing and finishing. If Paul Scholes had the ball, played it wide to David Beckham, we knew that the cross is coming. And as soon as the ball landed wide, the English supporter would be excited, knowing that the cross is coming. But in no time, as soon as they realize that, wait a minute, it's no more about crossing and finishing. It's about build-up, short interpasses, combinations, up, back through, back foot, receive and drive. All those, they immediately adapted to the evolution of the game. My biggest question to us as a nation and South Africans, are we ready to adapt? We are reluctant. South Africans are not quick to adapt to the trends of modern football. We tend to be rigid, and we are stuck in old ways, even when the game is moving. And we have to move fast if we have to improve the game. Not only players, not only coaches, not only the wonderful people sitting on the couches in front of me in terms of educating people, but everybody must then bring that element of, wait a minute, what's happening here? If you look at Mamelodi Sundowns, you learn a lot when they play. If you look at Orlando Pirates, you learn a lot when they play. If you look at Man City, you learn a lot. You look at Brighton, you learn a lot. You look at Xavi Alonso and all these folks. Now, all those components should not just be stuff that we watch on TV and see, because the game is universal. Can we do them back home? Now, if you do that in South Africa, then they say, hey, you're risking the thing. I was saying, of the teams that build from the back, who are perceived to be at high risk of conceding goals, they are teams who've conceded the least number of goals. Before this match, we had conceded 7. Sundowns has conceded 3. And Sundowns builds from the back. We build from the back. 2 of the teams who build from the back, possession-based, have conceded the least number of goals. But somebody tell him, hey, why don't you risking this? Those who don't risk, who play route 1, go direct, they are the ones who concede the most. But then that should tell you something if you're a scholar of the game, to say, no, man, wait a minute. Which means if I go long, it comes back quicker and you can step out. And when I build, then we are well, but you must be well structured when you build from the back. And everybody must be interconnected, knowing exactly keeper, first station pass, where do you go? And if it goes there, what happens to everybody else? If these options are closed, what then do you do? All those aspects must be dealt with so that the game can grow. I saw those today. So part to this, as much as I'm talking a whole lot of other stuff around football, about football, this game to me had a lot of aspects that I'll go back, watch it, and still say, okay, I feel good about it, even though the results did not come our way. Then the second half, then the right wing at Pirates was just coming and coming. And there's nothing as difficult as a left back playing against a right wing who's left-footed who drifts inside, which was a major problem. And the culmination of the second goal was that, even though basibambe ngale goal basibamba ngayo ku-Sundowns ku-MTN 8, and uye upule futhi Usale, where he got on. I don't know whether the whole circumference of the ball was out or not, whatever, but he got in on the ball and brought the ball. It deflects off our defender. And second goal, from there it was very difficult for us to come back. But I'm happy with how we performed, and I'm happy about the 5 players who went in. And I'm also very happy that what we keep working on as a team, as a group, we stuck to our guns.
We've got 2 rolling mics.
Okay. We'll get into it, guys. We'll get into it. Let me bring in Coach Rivero. Let's listen to what Coach Rivero had to say about the game, and then we can we can get into Coach's words. Here's Coach Rivero.
Very tactical first half, with 2 clear proposals, trying to fight each other, a bit very slow rhythm in my opinion. Also in the first half, the opponent tried to control the rhythm, delaying the restart, which is it's okay, but it was a bit boring for a while. The first half, not many things. And the actions were more in the middle of the field and not close to the boxes. So I don't remember so many exciting moments for both teams, more than a couple of set pieces for Swallows and an offside goal and a couple of more actions behind the line from our side. And we managed to score a goal before the halftime, which is very important for obvious reasons. And the second half we start a bit slow again, not pressing as high as we did in the first half. Then we did it, but in every attempt to press today was a foul. I think we commit more fouls today than in the rest of the season, or at least from the referee perspective. And it's difficult to deal with teams like Swallows that wants to build from the back. You have to press high, but you're pressing every time players in negative position, and if you touch them and they fall down and it's a foul, it becomes difficult to continue with that pressing. So you have to decide if you continue or you drop a couple of meters. And in a very good moment again, 60 minutes around, or 61, 62, we doubled the lead, and I think from there the game was much more clear in our side. We have the opportunity to score more, but we didn't finish well the game. The last 10 minutes we didn't play good enough, too much protagonism for our goalkeeper, too much time on the ball for our goalkeeper, and we should have finished the game spending more time in the side of their goalkeeper. But overall, 3 points, important as usually, and very happy with the result, obviously, and quite happy with the performance, even though was not our best game, and we can do it much better.
Oh, thank you, Coach. Hi, thank you, Coach Jose. Hey, Steve, man, Steve. Coach Steve, he was folding us there. Look, I'm going to talk about the game, then I want to address some things that were said about, that was said by Coach Steve. First things first, it was a boring game. It was a game where I said that it's 2 teams that are very stubborn. Him and Jose are very stubborn. Jose is stubborn in playing this 3-4-3 and sticking with the changes that he made to the to the team that started the season, that was doing very well. He's very stubborn. He wants these guys to learn and grow, and they'll play and they'll learn and all of that stuff. Steve Kompela is stubborn with this idea of modernizing football and playing out from the back. He's stubborn because against Kaizer Chiefs, I think they got caught out 10 times. Well, 8 times, I could count 8 times. 6th time was when they conceded the goal. So it literally cost them. It cost them points, right? They come versus the Pirates, and Pirates catches them also. Same thing. First goal, Evidence Makopa, was almost identical to what Chiefs scored against them, in that they won the ball up high, Pirates. Then, because their left back pushes up too early when they're playing, he got caught out. So it's 2 games where you've been stubborn with this modern football that you claim to want to play, and it's cost you points. Now, my thing about modern football is very simple. Steve Kompela is from the old guard, number 1. And then number 2, he doesn't have the personnel to be doing Sundowns things. Yeah, I love it when people compare themselves to Sundowns, because Sundowns is sitting at the top of the league right now, 9 games, 9 wins, 27 points. This Swallows team is sitting, 7th, 18 points. So it hasn't worked, and for 2 games, you've been caught out. Now, I commend him for wanting to go and do this modern football thing. But Chabi Alonso, there are new managers with time to get new players, with time to do their things. So Alex Ferguson wasn't playing tiki-taka. And there was a reason. When Pep arrives, Pep changes everything at a club, then goes and does those things that he needs to do. But you're at Swallows, Coach Steve. You're at Swallows. And you're an experienced coach. We don't judge you by how modern your football is or how beautiful it looks. We judge you by your results, especially when you're not coaching at those bigger teams. You're going to be judged by your results and what happens. That is the issue here. Also, play out from the back as much as you want to play out from the back. It's great. It's modern. It's all of that stuff. My issue with that and his attitude towards this is you did not change anything as to the structure of how you are building up from the back from the last match. So even you are not adapting and saying, okay, guys, it Chiefs is Bambe so last week. This is how we were exposed last week. What we're going to do this week, we're going to do the exact same thing this week. We're going to do the exact same thing this week. You're playing out from the back. Akpe is really uncomfortable. What happened when Pep had a goalkeeper that was not comfortable with the ball? He got rid of him. But you've got Akpe. Akpe plays balls long. That's how he played at Kaizer Chiefs or whatever. Fine. You make him play the ball out from the back. He passes to the defender. Your midfield is all the way up there. This compactness that he was speaking about was not there. But anyway, his midfield is all the way up there, right? You play the ball back to the goalkeeper. Goalkeeper plays into midfield. They beat him to the first ball every single time. Happened versus Kaizer Chiefs. So at what point, Coach Steve, do you sit down with your team and say, Yazini guys, this thing is not working. Let's figure out why this thing is not working and go from there. That is my issue with what Steve is doing. He hasn't changed anything. So it's great to want to play this modern football, but one, know your players, know their strengths and weaknesses, and understand when sometimes they just can't do it. And then number 2, don't copy page 9. We always say, you copy page 9 that says play out from the back. Copy page 1 that says, do you have the staff to teach them? Are you doing enough work in pre-seasons? Are you doing enough work at practice to make sure that these players know exactly how to stand, where to stand, what to do? Because Pirates in the first half realized that, all we need to do, they were committing 5 players to a press. All we need to do is stand here. They're going to give us the ball. All we need to do. Second half, he actually changed tactics and it looked a lot better. Pirates also sat back, to be fair. But it looked a lot better. So, guys, this modern football, I love this idea of modern football. But remember, guys, modern football is not just about these really cool ideas. You have to win. Xabi Alonso, I believe, is top of the German league right now. He's winning with his new ideas. Pep Guardiola's on top of his league. He's winning with his ideas. And sometimes you may see Xabi Alonso playing a certain way with Bayer Leverkusen and think, oh my God, that is modern football. Maybe he looked at his team and he went, okay, this is the system that fits my team. But if it's not going to work long term and you're going to keep making these mistakes crucially in these moments, then you might find yourself out of a job soon. And now we must feel sorry for you for losing the job because now the results are not looking the way the results were looking while you were being stubborn. Sometimes these things take time, and sometimes you may have to play a football that you don't want to play in order to give yourself time to implement the one that you do. Jose Rivero is given all of the rope by Pirates fans right now. All of the rope by Pirates fans. Do you know why? Because last season, he may have played something that he didn't want to play, won the trophies that he won the MTN8 this year, so that now when he's busy tweaking this 3-4-3 and doing these things, he's got time. But just really good English doesn't hide results. Really good English doesn't hide the fact that we're in a league where Mamelodi Sundowns is so far ahead of everybody else. So far ahead. And all of you guys as coaches are acting as if you've got 7 years. Are acting as if you finished second last season. Acting as if, you were 5 points away from Sundowns at a time. Yes, you worked at Sundowns, and yes, there are things, but now you, Steve, should know more than anyone that there's a ton of stuff that happens behind the scenes before you can start playing this football, before you can start doing these things. Williams and Akpe are two different keepers. So why put Akpe under pressure all the time? For the sake of this modern football. All right, guys. Anyway, I'm going to open up and we can have a conversation about these things. Yeah, it's also actually, before I close, it's also very telling. Well, what are the moments you have to start explaining yourself? That's when sometimes you can tell it's getting hot in the kitchen. When you have to start explaining yourself, it's because the results are not coming. And now you have to try sell us on these ideas. All of these other coaches, as far as I know, the ones who are winning, don't have to sell on any ideas because, you win. Say, born, it's over there. Anyway, guys, let me open up and then we can have the conversation here. So to join in one of my panels, just know that you have to be following me on TikTok. Join me while I'm on TikTok right now. I've opened up the lines. At the bottom of the screen, there's a button that says multi-guest. Click on that button, request, and I'll let you in, and we can have a conversation about this game. Let me see. Modern football style takes time and requires budget. Conforce doctor to do farmers' duties. Steven Yelpe boys. Yo, guys. Compella with good words. Compella is back, guys. Excuses after excuses, says Upredi. Avuti Kuto says, but Pep did have a keeper kicking balls long. What is funny about Steve is that he knows he's playing with fire, but simply has excuses to cover. You need quality players to play modern football. Fancy modern football requires a fancy wallet for talent building. Where is Simon Mabaso? Last night. Okay, let me let in the first panel. Yeah, guys, but that's all I'm saying. All I'm saying is that the idea of modern football is incredible. It's great. I've also said here that sometimes as South Africans, we don't accept things that don't look nice but work. But to ask us to accept things that are not working under the guise of, no, it's just, we'll get it right one day, we'll do something one day. For me, that is a big issue in what our coaches say to us. That's my issue here. Malame Kutso, welcome to the show, my brother. How are you?
So it's in basic 3 points, man. How are you?
Yes, I am. Tell me, Malame Kutso, before we start speaking about all of the other stuff, how did you find the game yesterday?
Well, as I had said yesterday, I only caught the second half proper. Caught the last 10 minutes, first half, as well as the second half, due to load shedding. A bigger crisis in the country, which we've accepted. Anyway, moving on from politics. Second half, quite interesting, if I may. I know people were bored and all of that, could have been more entertaining, but illuminating light came in the form of Usaleng, as well as the experiment Gamakaring. I listened to each chat, halftime, Nemachita, as well as I think it was Austin Time, questioning the use of Makaring on as a right back, but it seems like halftime he was given proper coaching.
Yeah.
Because second half he played like a right back. I could not see the complaints, but I assume which he was coached with Makaring. Do not invert too much. Do not go forward too much. Because Lina won the highlights already. I think first 4 minutes he was on the left, slanting across there, and you would think with how does a right back Vi go left back. I mean, go left wing to put in crosses. You understand? But second half, I was impressed, even though there are instances where Habam Shapaka window, it was a bit difficult for him to react to it. Like a ball in between the center back and himself. He did not know which should he slide, should he close a gap, or should he try and stick near winger. Swallows could have done better trying to expose him, trying to challenge Center back too. Center back were not even challenged at all. Even our midfield was not challenged at all. Did not see Tim having to do any hard work. But all in all, Naki bigger Pirates, man. I mean, scoring 2-0 is always a beautiful thing. I mean, it's always a beautiful thing.
Okay. Alton Tabi, welcome to the show. How are you? Alton Tabi?
Dumelang. Okay.
Alton Tabi, we bone jwang match ya maobane dumela.
Match ine tla hantle until Pirates ikora idia Solosi moya. But if Solosi ile ya kora pili, game ela ine tlo ba monate, ine tlo lwana, ine tlo ba le that thing moya o no tlo ba teng. And then tate Khompela ka gwa se hlutseng di dictionary. A tlo bua ka English Premiership. Ke di role model tsa hae tsela o ke seng ke ntho ya motho mongwe a batla o itlisa ha hao container e wena o nang le yona because ntho e wena o nang le yona wa tseba hore na route ya teng e tswa kae o e etsang o etsa jwale ha be re tlo fostuwa batho ba santse ba le baka ho ba bapale English Premiership ha ona meretlo ya teng re South Africa ka football nnete fela maka gayo so e bana ba rona ba le banyane ba batla nkua ba isue kwa why ba tlameha ho lo lena ntho e seng ya bona kwa ye ya mo yona e tlo lena ke mangwa ba sa re bashimane ba mo ba tribula bolo de we ba etsang ka teng ba ikenye di spice nyana ba etsa modern e seng hore thu re tla copa Barcelona re batla ho tshwana le bona Barcelona ba bapala ntho e ba hotseng ka bona ka yona e mading a bona so re foster hore batho ba ntho e mading a Barcelona ba itlisa South Africa awa hai di coaches re dula re bua re di coaches tsa tswa da ne re ho fuwe di coaches tsa South Africa a chance because bona ba tseba hore South Africa bashimane ba South Africa re bapala bolo ra tribula re etsang re complain ha ba reka di coaches tsa tswang kontle because ha ba fihla bona ba le jotsa hore ntho eno le ke se yetse because bona ha ba itse ba tswang teng ha ba tle ka yona ha se ya bona ha batho ba mo bolaya ntho ya mo huwa kae wa tlolang bana ba rona ba etse di skills ke ntho e tswang mona e ba tswelang molemo ba kgona go rantse di etsuwa di skills tse 1 and 2 ho tribulwa mola 4 and 5 jwale ha be re tlo batlang wa bapala English football hai give up
Ya tla Tabi ke atla tlo gutla ke batla go botsa sentle ka yona eo e re ke kenye Chero, welcome to the show. How are you, my brother?
I'm okay, man. How are you?
I'm good, my brother. I'm good. Tell me, how did you see the game last night?
Hey, again, even though I had the same problem with Malum Kuto with load shedding, I managed to catch the last 30 minutes of the game. You know, yeah, same old, man. I was very disappointed with Pirates. besides scoring the goals, but the combination, it wasn't there. But maybe during the first half and the first 30 minutes or 60 minutes of the game, because I didn't see the whole thing. The reason I requested to come live was the interview of Steve Kompela and your comments afterwards. You know? My thing is, sometimes we as fans, we don't know what we want. I think this, because now when we're talking about modern football, building a structure of the team, and making a club proper, it takes time. I mean, we've got a good example here at home, with Sundowns. Even with Man City, we watch European football. It took City years after these guys bought it from Qatar. It took years, 3 managers, they hired and fired players, and eventually now they've got it right. So for me, not to judge Steve Kompela now and expect results plus performance from him, it's not going to happen.
But when should we expect it? Because Steve Kompela is not a new coach. Steve Kompela was at Sundowns. Steve Kompela. Sometimes I feel like when we speak about our local coaches, you can't be auditioning or playing or trying new things in the league. These things were meant to have been done a long time ago. And if something is wrong, at least adapt that thing.
No, but guys, let's be fair. We are saying Steve Kompela is there for the long run, ain't it? So he has to start afresh.
Should he be there for the long run? Should he be coaching with that mind? Should he be coaching with the mind that I'm going to be there for a long run?
Well, what's the point then? If he's coaching for 2 years, then he might as well pack the pass and hope for corners and play long balls. He must play for results. If we want, like us South Africans, we want attractive football. We want to see the ball on the ground. We want to see attractive football besides the goals. And those things don't happen overnight. So I don't know what we really expecting from Steve. He came in, he didn't even buy players. He didn't even prepare these guys for a preseason. So he's coming in with these players. He must make do with whatever is there. Judging him right now is totally unfair. For me, Swallows is a team which as long as they survive being relegated, they've done well.
But that's 15 teams. That's the story of every team in the PSL. That's my
That's
problem.
the whole league.
That's what I'm saying. If Steve is coaching to build, and Steve Parker is coaching to build, and Gavin is coaching to build, and Kaitano Tembo is coaching to build, and Eric Tinkler's coaching to build, everyone's coaching to build, and now it's 6 years and Sundowns are taking everything. At what point do we say to these coaches, guys, kupa the results, guys? Then you can do all the nice things.
But that's the state of our football, and it's not down to coaches. It's down to clubs. You can't tell me, Uguti, you're going to blame Steve if he get fired, let's say, next week. You can't blame him. He didn't fire himself. He didn't have time to implement his
But he also didn't get the
structure.
results. I can't just give him time because of, okay, it's still early for him, but if he doesn't get the results as is the...
But who's getting results? That's the point. Who's
Why
getting
aren't they
results?
getting
Because
results?
no one.
We're letting
Because
them
we
go.
keep on changing. Because we keep on changing coaches. We keep on chopping coaches. Our players are not in good. They're not in a decent standards. Not even good. They're not even decent standards. Some of them can't trap the ball. They can't turn in the right direction. So you can't expect Steve Kompela to coach all of that in 3 months.
But
or
then what
4
about
months.
everybody else? Because then Steve
It's
goes the
the
same
same-
route
it's the
as
same with everyone else.
Steve Barker's been at Stellenbosch for a very long time. The first time they're getting to a cup final now. Eric Tinkler's been at Cape Town City for a very long time. A lot of the coaches in our league, John Maduka has been at Raleigh AM ever since the when. Abo Midendop are not new to the league. Abos Banbani. At what point do we look at the rest of the guys and say, guys, we're tired of the nice English and all of those things, but in as much as you say you're building, we look back at your team 3 years later and it's still the same thing. Steve was this coach when he was still a coach, head coach himself. What makes the change now?
My answer to you is, you see all these teams you are mentioning, about Stellenbosch, about Golden Arrows, and so on and so forth. These are all selling teams. Once a player is good enough, they sell. Once they get money, they sell. Same thing with, I'll make an example of Maritzburg United. Maritzburg, if you look at their track record, if the past 10 years, the amount of good players they've sold, eventually they got relegated. So you cannot be selling 4 players every season.
Mara,
Key
you
players.
signed the contract with your eyes open. You know that it's a selling team. Must I give you slack?
No, but it's a club now. The club is
But
selling
you
these
signed
good
the
players.
contract. You're getting a salary.
Now
You're
the-
doing
now-
everything. Why
Yeah,
must
but
I
now
give
the
you?
coach is expecting to start afresh every season. That's my point. You start every season. You are tasked to start afresh with new players.
But you do that knowing you signed the contract knowing that team does that.
So no coach will be successful then.
No,
In
you
that-
must go
if-
to a
if-
team where you'll get to do what you want to do then, if that is a big cry. But if you carry on signing for these players and signing for these coaches, these teams, it's not going to change. So now must I let Steve go Steve Barker go because Stellenbosch sells players, even though Steve Barker has been there for 8 years?
But now, what are your expectations for Steve Barker if you're gonna sell his key players every season? What
To work
do you
with what he
expect from
has.
him?
Gavin.
And do what with
Gavin's in
because-
Africa, playing with 18-year-olds,
Right.
selling every season. Why can't I expect that from others?
By now, for me, I'm gonna let other people come
No,
in.
I was
But
just asking.
But for me, if you want to compare a coach, I made 2 examples. I can even add Real Madrid and Barcelona. They are not selling. They are not selling clubs, including Sundowns. They're not selling clubs, so they are able to build momentum. They're able to gain experience. Eventually, they get to a place where they are very successful. But and then that's why I made an example of.
But you
Maritzburg
play
United.
Sundowns twice. Can I not expect Jose Rivero to be 5 points away from Sundowns instead of 16?
Okay, now when you're talking about Jose, that's a different story.
Even the others. Steve's situation is different to Richards Bay. It's probably better than Richards Bay. Jose's situation is better than Steve and Richards Bay. Why is it that at the end of the season, they're 30 points away from Sundowns? Others are 16 points, others are 18, 21. Isn't it, shouldn't we expect these coaches, especially the experienced ones, to be chasing at least 10 points Sundowns?
Yeah. No, I know. I hear you. Let's give others a chance.
No, Theo. How are you, my brother?
I'm good. How are you, sir?
No, I'm good, my brother. I'm good. Theo, do you know what the thing is? I feel like in football these days, we use words. Process, project, this, that, and the other. And that means that you have to look past the simple things that they are not fixing every game. I'm not saying for me that Steve mustn't play out from the back. I'm saying, Steve, play out from the back, the way you're doing it right now is not working. At what point do I look at you and say, fix that thing, yeah, and then go ahead and do something? But they just, anyway, what did you think of the game?
Let me greet you and greet everyone in the panel. Siyabonga amabhakani awinile madoda, even though even their coach just confirmed ukuthi now he wanted to run away but he couldn't because it's his team. You know, when the coach says what Coach Epare just said, Jose, it's so funny. And I love the fact that now he's starting to be honest, guys, and we need to give him a handshake for that, or a clap of hands. But back into the game, man, Mr. Otsi. First half, it was the most boring game in the world. If I were to watch that game again now, I would rather kill myself. Angeke ngibukele the game there again. Another thing that I want to point out that Amachitang I understand, or I think Ujero is not even, seeing. Ukompela guys had the preseason. Let's not lie to ourselves. Kompela had the preseason. Kompela arrived to Swallows on the 4th of July, and then the first game in Swallows was on the 8th of August. So when you mean didn't have a preseason, the 30 days begins on. Yeah, well, and also, what I want to also address, City Sundowns from the back. Guys, Sundowns, they strategize against the team members what they don't go there and say, we're going to play at the back, even if no matter the Chiefs, they need to praise on the Ponsane. No. That's why if you watch their game against the Chiefs, when we played with Abu Ponsan and Abu Dupris, they never build it from the back. What they would do is they would stretch the ball wide, or they will use Uzwane or Alain Delapa to come and get the ball, then turn, not Lendaba Yenza Manje. And you look at that, Tina, sifuna ukuthi ukhompela simvumele enzinto na ayibona ukuthi it's not working, you understand? And thirdly, let me make an example. You know Makaringe is not a left back. You know, you don't even need to be told, you know that. My question is, what was planned for that? You understand? You have an advantage. Uguti Pirate here doesn't have a left back, a right back. I mean, you know, Uguti Makaring is not that. Then do something about it. I saw Mhango busy trying to drift right, but the problem is when he goes there, the ball is being played at the back. Why were they not doing a more overhit football? Yeah, but why were they not kicking the balls for Mhango to take the ball and attack? So I think, man, you watch that game, it was disappointing. I don't want to lie to you. So I want to ask Bazo Kulma Batini, but I mean, as you know, football is a game of moments. So Steve was not on this game at all. I don't want to lie to you. Yeah.
Okay. Maluma Kuto, I want to come to this thing, Steve and coaches and their projects and things like that. I just want to get your general thoughts. What do you feel about coaches coming with that point of view?
For now, if you have a plan, Mr. OT, be my guest, execute it. It never goes in the first time sometimes, but then allow the process. Allow players to learn. Don't just ditch it. Next thing you're at 10 Hag where you had a plan, but Manjak Zegi, or and others one where we know what you believed in moving the ball around, but now you're kicking it forward and you don't know where to go next. And if we had allowed you to execute your plan, you knew what was the next phase. You understand? It was never only about winning, but also about the long haul. You understand? So for me, if I was Swallows manager, I'd be okay with Coach Steve. I'd actually tell him, we actually survived relegation by the skin of our teeth last season. It seems like we are cruising to a point where you even have leeway to experiment, make mistakes, and still be in the top 8, because I mean we are Swallows, and the mission and goal or ambition, not necessarily to win the league. We would love to, but in this case, top 8 would be a great achievement. So in that case, I would then give it to Coach Steve and say, look, continue trying to build from the back, check who's weak, which player is struggling, whether to execute or to adapt, which player is teachable, and then use the X. Use the X. Those who are not teachable, X them. Those who are not good enough, but teachable, at least develop them. Those who do not listen at all, remove them from the team. Let's see, look around. Can we get loans for January? Can we get new freebies for January to fit? Just, sometimes an entire team can look like they don't know how to play from the back or whatever. And it's just one player, just one player, just the right defender. Or maybe, just maybe, let's talk to Chiefs. They've taken our boy, who I think would prefer to receive passes from the keeper, and they're not able to use him consistently. If I may, they use him, but they can't use him consistently. Let's talk to Chiefs. Maybe it could be a win-win situation in that we work on Ungcobo's confidence, center back, and see how maybe he's the actual missing piece. Understand? If Kenya, maybe it will make sense. Maybe the team will start ticking. I think a player like Keegan Allen, I've seen him go Bafana. Lena, he's silky on the ball. He can do his thing there. It's just the partner, just that one partner. Maybe if they can partner him with Ungcobo, things might work out better for his Swallows.
I think what I'm asking as well is, it's 12 games into the season. We've got 30 games. how many times are we going to sit in the PSL and hear about coaches learning and trying and doing this halfway through the season? That's what I'm like. I can understand it to a degree if it wasn't everyone. But I think what happens is that we let Steve go, then we let this one go, and we let that one go, and we let that and that one and that one and that one. Then Chigi Chigi, we're sitting with a league where it's been dominated by Sundowns in the league. You guys have been dominating by Cups. The other teams are just, like, at what point, Malume Kutso? Because all I hear every day is project. Sundowns had a project 2 years ago. This one had a project the other day. That one has another project that's starting now. How many times are we going to see this and hide behind modern football and all of this stuff? Shouldn't coaches earn their keep? And I know, and is it a case of us putting the bar too low for these coaches and teams, not just coaches and teams actually?
Well, in this case, I would suggest that the buy is extremely high for Coach Steve. We need to be fair in connecting the goals we set as supporters, as football lovers, as football team owners, and everything. The goals we set for certain individuals in certain circumstances. I don't think anyone expects Iswalos to be the one that dethrones Mamelodi Sundowns.
No. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that.
I get it. Hear me out. I don't think anyone expects Iswalos to be the team that dethrones Mamelodi Sundowns. However, we expect to see progress from what they were last season. Maybe towards other teams that have deeper pockets, that have a great recruitment system, or coaches that have had time already. Then we can start being more harsher, if that's even the correct term. And so we can start questioning. And I get it. 12 games sounds a lot, but if it's 12 games into a 3-year contract, then it's not as much. You understand? Maybe he's been given the entire season, which was the idea. Yeah, Chiefs, when they gave Gavin Hunt a team that couldn't sign players, initially the idea was, okay, just get a feel of the team, let's see what we can do. And then he started overachieving, and they were like, well, now you must do what, X, Y, Z. So maybe Coach Steve, his target is actually to dethrone Mamelodi Sundowns, and he's set with the board, and he was like, you know what, gents, if you can give me a season of full experiment, allow me to do whatever I want, with the guarantee that all I have to do is keep a status team, or at best keep us in the top 8. If you can give me that, the next season, I guarantee you by midway, you will see results and you will reap at least a cup or two. If that is the agreement, or even not even a cup or two, you will just get at least a young Q1 Yana, Q2 Yana, you understand? Q innovation Yana, you get something. Then it makes sense. You understand? I feel like we can be harsh on teams such as the Pirates, on teams such as Chiefs, because of the financial muscle that they have, because of the, even if it's not financial muscle, but pulling power of players that they possess in the form of being an attractive team. Then we can be harsh on them. Swallows, you first knock on other doors. You start there by Pirates, they reject you. You go to Chiefs, they reject you. You go to Super Sport, they reject you. And then you start thinking, maybe TS Galaxy says no. And then ultimately, you make that call to say, maybe it's always something. And we've heard before, which is Swallows at all. You understand? For some time. So with a team like that, in as much as maybe the situation has changed now, it loses its attractiveness to Ama player. It becomes the last option. So I feel that the question you're asking is not relevant to his Swallows specifically, but relevant to other teams. And not only because of his stature as Swallows right now and the financial muscle, but also the fact that the coach is less than half a season into his contract. Maybe let's give him time. Simbone. And the fact that he is as stubborn right now, is playing from the back, it means players must just adapt. If a player is not adapting, what is? You
Mara, the
delay the process.
results, malume Khutso. The
No,
results, malume
you
Khutso.
understand?
I hear everything.
I agree with
The
you.
results.
I agree with you.
Experiment to your heart's content, but not to the detriment of the team. Or at least I would get it. You see what he did yesterday? I sort of get it now. He did it. Then second half, Boma 60th minute, he made a change. And then they looked so much more comfortable. They looked so much more flowing and whatever. Get the results and then earn that time.
There's actually never a period where you can say, I'm allowed to lose 5 games in a row. It will never be there. You can be allowed to lose maybe one yana, 2 yana. And the sad part is losing ungazi ukuthi wenzani, Mr. OT. You see that one where you can't even see the way back to your original plan, because once you try and go back to your original plan, the naysayers will call you a flip-flopper and everything. But if you've got a plan, you tell the players, which gents, here's the way we want to play. So the results, as you put it, are not necessarily only reflected by the scoreline, but also by how we played, because how we played will determine how we play in the future and the results that are coming in the future. If we're just playing it doom, then we win. Next thing, we go into a 5-match winless streak. Like Pirates went through Kwanamanje because they had somewhat lost the identity that they had built over time. I know people
And Jose earned his time. Jose did his time. That's why Lisa would see the question.
But he was already under fire. And to be fair,
What were you saying to me, Malume Khutso? What were you saying to me about Jose?
And hear me out. And to be fair, Jose is blessed to be working for a team with some of the best supporters in the world who are so chilled. No.
Why are you chilled? You've told me, how many times have you told me here that, hi, Jose won his 2 trophies. We don't care about the Champions League. He'll get it next year. He won the MTN8 this year. He's got 3 trophies in a year and a half. Therefore, Rona, we're not too worried now. He's earned it.
Let me describe Pirates supporters to you. Jose Kanakimang, Joseph Zinbao. Was here, won a trophy, I think, in his 3rd season. Lena, he was not threatened or anything. Rulani as well. We didn't know what he was doing, but we were supporting him. Want to see you make it. If you ask any Pirate support, or give me your top 2 coaches in terms of football that you love, I promise you those coaches have no cups, bar for root crawl.
Isn't that a worry?
They'll probably mention Ukostadin Papish or Umincho. That is Pirate supporters for you. They are so okay with allowing a process. They're like, okay, ends are spawn. So we wouldn't even fight Namanje. Whether he had 3 cups or 4 cups, whether he had no cups, we would have valid.
Isn't that the issue then? Isn't that the issue?
When was the last time Pirates won a game?
You guys won 11 November Chiefs Derby 2 weeks ago.
Oh, nice. But
Then
the
you
point
drew versus Richards Bay.
You understand? So, but did you see the numbers in the stands? Would you say there was a team that had failed to win in so many in such a long time? Probably not. Basic grand, good. I was actually impressed by turnout of Pirates for a team that's not doing well. So I'm a Pirate supporters, I'm a football loving supporter. So we really can't say Jose is reaping the fruits as of which he won 3 cups. It's probably a combination. Maybe it does play somewhat effect, but I'm a supporter of Pirates, Mr. OT. Trust me, we are okay. We give him a good chance.
No, let me bring in Ostabi. The coach is saying, man, should they get this time? And now I can understand the time for time's sake. I think maybe that's my issue. Nothing changes from what they did. We want to Tabain.
OT. Ke se re ha ke na listini o na listini be ke nahana hore because webe wena o sentse ka samente le santa le nna se tla ntshebeletsa and then gompela hare Sundowns e qala e build up from the back. Sundowns e build up from the back because inale most the players tsa bona ha di tsi monana Free State ha di tsi Eastern Cape di mo bapala bolo eo. That's why ba kgona ho manage ka that side. Jwale o bona batho ba mona hore ba manage. Wena ha ona tsona, ha na tsona di-player tse Sundowns tse nang le tsona, ha na bona bo Allende. Mara o bo posta hore Mango a bapale ntho e Allende a e bapalang, Mango a tswa mo ntho impossible tse. Okay, ntho tse ntse pedi a di tshwane. E nngwe e ya kwana, e nngwe e ya kwana. So ha ke tsebe ha kaofela ha ntse le ba starta ho bapala from the back, because ba bona Sundowns bapala from the back. Sundowns ya tseba hore na why e etsa jwalo, and ba etsang dintho tseo di etsahale di etswe natural, re sena tsona those kind of players. Ha uwa bathong di tlo sebetsa di kopile Rulani kaofela di-coach tse 15 tse mo Premier League, because ha ba tlo sebetsa ba shebile hore e ka re Rulani tla ba yena role model ya rona, nka go tla bapala bolo e bapalwang ke bo Barcelona. Sundowns ina di-player ba ya tswa ba lo skata ba lo batlana le di-player tse right, bona ha ba tsamaya ba Zimbabwe ba ya kae mona. So re tlo tshwana le batho ba le jwang.
Hey, let me bring it to Chero. Just to continue with this conversation, man. The process. Should we trust the process for the process' sake?
Well, to answer your question, let me just put it this way: is the process part of the club or it's a coach thing? Because in my way of thinking, maybe I'm wrong. If a coach come, you hire a coach, the process began before the coach come, must have begun maybe 10 years or 5 years before the coach came to the club. So which means the coach is coming in to improve the process or continue with the process. But in the case of Steve or in the case of Peter Musimane, Peter was starting the process. So Motsepe said, okay, brah, come here, I'll give you a 5-year contract, let's start. I don't care about the...
I don't like that example because Pizzo saved them from relegation year 1, and year 2 he won the league. The first 6 months he saved them from relegation because he came in midway, and then literally the next season he had the league. Okay,
because the Sundowns thing is a bit dramatic. Let's use the Manchester City process then. We have an example, but now we can't expect Swallows to be in the level of Man City, but they must improve on their standards. We must know exactly what does Swallows stand for. We must know exactly how do they recruit, their expectations. Now they are a top 4 side or a top 5 side. They are winning a Capignana after 2 seasons. Slowly but surely are improving. But now the club has to own the process. If you look at most successful clubs around the world, because I keep on talking about Europeans, because they are ahead of us. So you must learn from the people who are ahead of you, who've walked this path. So till now we are trying to redefine the path. No, the path is there. You just have to follow it and go and ask, Chance, how do you do this? We are in this situation. How do I move from this step to this step? You understand? But now it's not happening. This thing of changing and chopping and the coaches are not even allowed to recruit. 6 months down the line, they are gone. I mean, we have the perfect platform, the MTC. If you look for me, the only team that is doing well, don't look at the log, because the MTC is a development league. I go back to Sundowns. You can take a player from MTC and put him straight to the starting 11 of Sundowns, and you won't tell, because there is a structure set by the club. It's not set by a Rulani. So this thing of blaming coaches is going to continue if you're not looking at the clubs. Look at Chippa United. Chief has been in the league for donkeys number of years. Golden Arrows, at least we know Bafana Beste, and you know what to expect. But even then, they are not improving. They have that football, but okay, maybe for sponsors and this and that. But maybe we have Sundowns, Stellenbosch, and Golden Arrows. Those three teams, I can tell you what type of football they play. But the rest, I don't know. I don't know. I can't tell you. I can't tell you what to expect. It's only three teams: Stellenbosch, maybe Super Sports. Go down the line, crosses. But the rest, we don't know, bruh. We don't know.
I think this is why I always lean on, and maybe that's why I come from this. I always lean on Gavin. I love Gavin. Gavin Hunt is one of my favorite coaches. And all he said was, I remember it was an interview on Robert Marawa, and Junior Kanye came on and said, yeah, Gavin doesn't play beautiful football. And Gavin said, guys, I would love to play beautiful football. I would love it. I would love to build from the back. I would love to do this and do all of that stuff. But my goal needs to be to put Supersport in the best position. And then if my team then doesn't sell, you hear him complaining all the time. If my team doesn't sell, then maybe we can build towards something. But I'm going to make sure that Supersport team is going to finish third, is going to go to Confed, is going to do those things. And even if my team is going to sell, when my team decides not to sell, then we will work on all of those different things and do all of those nice things. Now I'm adding on to what I think he means. All of those nice things. But until that point, I can't be stubborn with something where I know that tomorrow they're going to sell. So let me rather get the results. Get the results, and then from that point on, we'll see where we go. You get me? My issue is that we love to use the Sundowns comparison on certain things. Sundowns is very stubborn when it comes to their style of play, right? But they are also very stubborn when it comes to coaches. You get what I mean? If Rulani messes up experimenting, whatever he's doing, if the chameleon wasn't working right now, Rulani's job is under fire. He'd be gone tomorrow. You get what I mean? There's standards. Sundowns plays out from the back. Sundowns converted two midfielders. Kutsia plays in the heart of the defense. He used to be a CDM. Kemang Mudiba, Mvala, they invert in. Allender drops deep. There's things they do to play out from the back. So I think if the question is not that Steve must be stubborn, let's say Steve must be stubborn and must stay where he is. I'm saying that for 2-3 games now, you've seen the same exact mistake. At what point do we say to Steve Komphela, Steve, okay, you want to play out from the back. Now realize, Guti, you can't play out from the back like Sundowns. Maybe play out from the back like Bayer Leverkusen. So maybe adapt it then if you want to do that. But for him to just come out and say, no, I'm playing modern football, and that just be it, I think Minangshota lapo. If we take it back to him, the coach on its own.
To answer you, for Steve, we have to start somewhere. There has to be a day one. So this is his day one of saying, okay, guys, for this year we're gonna be working on playing this way. Those who are struggling, then we're gonna bring in other players who will be more suited to playing this way. So it has to start somewhere. If you fire Steve now, the next coach who's coming in is gonna start afresh again.
No, I'm not firing Steve. I'm saying to Steve, Mara Steve. Unfortunately, you're gonna have Agbe for the whole season. Unfortunately. So until the time that you can get a new goalkeeper, can you try play a little bit to Agbe's strengths in the building up? Maybe don't make them play the ball back to him, for example. You get what I mean? Maybe build up in such a way that it hides a weakness here. Because now Chiefs has caught you, Pirates has caught you. Now all the teams coming in future are going to catch you. And I also just want to say, it's not just about Steve. I've said this about Uchoze. Uchoze used to come out on every press conference and say, they played a low block. What can I say? It's something I need to fix. And I'm like, but Jose, at what point, Jose, after watching an entire season of your team doing this, at what point, 11 games, 12 games, 15 games, however many games, are you going to say, you know what, maybe I shouldn't do that thing? You get what I mean?
But when does the blame come back to players? Because at the end I'm saying when does the blame come back or go to players? Because eventually they are the one who's supposed to execute the game plan.
Marabagwaz, you see Akpay is scared every single time he has to play out. I don't expect Akpay to become a good player after that. I expect the coach to either take him out after 11 games, let's say, and not to say that they're bad, but I'm just saying, after 11 games, you see this guy is uncomfortable doing this thing. You can persist and have him be uncomfortable and be caught out, or you can either change him or change your plan to fit him in. You get me?
Yeah, but players have enough time to improve. Personally, they've got enough time to say, okay, now the game is moving towards this direction. Playing out, every player must be comfortable on the ball. Whether you're playing golden arrows, whether you're playing vets, goalkeepers included, they must be comfortable on the ball. But it seems as if our players are not putting enough effort on doing that.
And I can't let them go and say, "Hi guys, the players are not right. The coach is still implementing. The players are not doing right." I can only say, I'm looking at the results. You get what I mean? Whoever's to blame. I think maybe you think I'm just saying Steve. I'm saying whoever's to blame.
I understand what you're saying. I want to come in on the issue of who's this coach Gavin. Gavin, if you look at the type of teams he's been successful at and the expectations of those teams. I remember Peter when he was coaching Bafana. He was doing an interview. There's a show called Soccer Africa. So he was doing an interview there. He was saying coaching a South African team or Bafana is difficult because there are two things expected from you: is the type of football and the results. Now it's very difficult to get these two things at the same time. You need time because you look at the example of there's this guy, man, who called Urul Kroll. Urul Kroll, back then, Pirates were not playing attractive football like Papish. They were a precision team, like the German teams, like your Bayern. They were very direct and they were getting the results. But at the end of the day, was let go. So now, going back to Ukavin doesn't play attractive football. And someone is saying, the most teams he's been successful at is Vets and Super Sports. Those are so-called white teams, where those teams are not expecting or expected to play a good football. He went to Chiefs, he tried this precision football, and he failed. Regardless, he didn't have the buying power.
Wait, at Chiefs, I disagree. Yeah, he was very successful at Chiefs, for me.
The type of football that was expected from Chiefs, it wasn't there. That we can agree. That's one of the reasons Steve Gavin was fired, because of the way they are playing. So
if you could ask any Chiefs fan, do you want a star or do you want good football? If you had the opportunity to win a star, which we had with Gavin, he was fired in the middle. He says because he fought with the management, but we had a chance to win a star. Do you think if we won that star and we had a star in our jersey for the rest of forever, do you think Chiefs fans would be looking back and saying, but we were so ugly?
I know that, but my whole point is, when we go to the stadiums, we want to be entertained. That's our mentality as the people. Hence, we're always going out and singing and dancing. We are not like the English side. You understand? Who are very boring, if I may put it that way.
Okay,
So,
no.
Yeah.
I'll give you that, Theo. Tell me, should we focus on? Should we be following process for process sake? Because In a lot of conversations I have about this type of stuff, for me, it always feels as though don't fire the coach, not because the coach is good, but it's because we fired 3 coaches previously. Don't expect results because previously there was no style of play or process, but this guy is trying to install a process. Therefore, don't think about the results. I don't understand.
Guys, first of all, I mean, I'm not saying Compela's building from the back is wrong. I'm saying, first of all, have a plan B. And I'm also saying, understand, Uzi, there are certain teams that you cannot dare play that system because they are going to kill you. They have pressing traps, they have quick players. They know Gutu Phillips, he has never played that style of play, so they're going to pounce at him like Chiefs did last time. You're not going to come to me then and try and bribe me and say, yeah, but you see, position lock, in. Guys, the minute they understand this, like your Stellenbosch, your Cape Town City, they're gonna pounce at them. They are gonna know, okay, the only thing that we need to do is just leave 3 front players and make sure you press Akpay to a point whereby this instruction is he must not play high ball. Press him to a point whereby it's either he goes back and as a Cheryl and he puts or he passes a wrong pass like he did against Chiefs, then we pounce. Another thing, Mr. Oti, people don't understand. We're not against Steve Compella. We are saying you want to bring in modern football. Are you playing with modern players? You understand? Are you having players that are understanding that mindset? I was watching it in the Wolves as well. Guys, England, it's not new in modern football. It's not like Pep came with modern football. Whoever told you that is lying to you. They've been playing from the back, but they've been building. You understand? And then only now certain teams are starting to find that salt, that understanding of their players. Hence, that's why they are getting the quality. If you remember, the Sundowns when they had Nascimento, that's where Sundowns was more crucial when they played from the back. Nascimento was able to do those distribution passes as I'm Chiefs. I forgot his name, man. Utove. You see those passes at Utove from the back to Nascimento was doing them very well. And Sundowns then gradually they started understanding, okay, this is how we should be playing. I can make an example right now, OT. If Sundowns can play against a team that presses them high, they're not going to play from the back. Roland is not that stubborn. He's not that foolish. He understands, I'm playing against a team that plays like this. I have to change my system. My question for Compel, you see the system is not working. You see Pirates is not even pressing you. You understand? The minute you get the ball, the minute you challenge 1-2, already you have 5 players at the back because you have to play that system. And they do not even gradually move fast going forward. The system they on when you are playing with a left back, right back, left back that are able to invert or move quickly forward. You understand? When they play that ball, then they move quickly forward to accept the ball and then move it to an advantageous area. You look at that game, every time when they get the ball from the middle, they dead. Every time they get the ball from the middle, it's like they were non-existent. That's why I'm saying they lose it, yes. And then you cannot be saying you are building from the back if your middle is dead. And also, you don't even show anything going forward. You remember, you even asked this Walguti, how are they going to score? That was your question. How are they going to score? Because building from the back seems to be like a main focus for each and every one of us. But Kukombela understand, Guti, now we are also seeing, Guti, going forward, we are also struggling. We are failing to find production going forward. So I'm saying to you, Mr. Oti, as much as people can try and come and say, it's a process, it's a strategy, but if it's not yielding results at the moment, you understand? Because football is a game of moments. Swallows can lose 3 games in a row or 5 games in a row from now. Like 5 games in a row, you're not going to come and tell me, Guti, they still have to build from the back. You will see, Guti, there's a loophole. Steve Compella. And if he doesn't change it, he's going to get fired. If he doesn't get fired, Swallows is going to go through the relegation again. We're not saying change your style of play, but I'm saying improve, improvise, understand. In modern football, Liverpool knows when they have to play from the back. The minute Alisson makes a mistake, there are some passing ball. The minute you even nature to Maguire makes a mistake, there are some passing ball. They are adapting to the game now. It's okay, this is the mistake that we are facing. But when you see Akpay is struggling, you're gonna say Akpay is to do the very same thing. That's stupid, guys. No, that's dumb. No.
And I think that's the conversation because for me, for example, people always reference Pep. Guys, Pep said after his first season, was it halfway through the season in England, he was like, I was wrong. I got here and I thought I was going to implement tiki taka like this. Then I saw that I believe he said the second ball was the most important thing in English football.
Important thing, yeah.
So I changed the way I played in order to make sure that we can account for the second ball. I think my issue with the PSL, and maybe you guys are thinking it's just about Compella. Compella is just the starting point of the convo. My issue with the PSL is that by and large, we have 15 teams that play one way and only one way. And what happens is in the season, you will win this game, lose the next one, throw the next one, lose the next. There's no consistency because they're not adapting. Even Jose, if you guys remember, I think it was a month or two ago, I asked a simple question where I said, at what point do we question Jose? Because lento yake ayisebenze akakore, right? Shouldn't he be tweaking? Shouldn't he be changing? Shouldn't he be noticing things? Just like I'm asking about Steve Compella. Steve Compella is not saying, yo guys, what if Steve Compella came out and said, I want to instill this style of play, but there's things that my players need to learn, and there's things that I need to tweak in the way that we build out from the back. Building out from the back is not one thing. That's the improvement, and that doesn't take a season. For me, it doesn't take a season. You see something wrong right now, you go, oh, what paper pressure? Yazin, one of my midfielders, come back and be support here. So when we play out, we can play to you like this and play out like that.
To you
get what I mean? It's that's what I'm saying. Manjetina, just because he said it's a process, Siraiti. Like just because he said I want to do this thing, Siraiti, we're gonna let him ride it out up until 11 games, and he's still learning.
11
Jose Rivero sat for 6 games and he kept on telling us press conference after press conference, low block. And you're like, how, but guys, Rulani comes out and says, at halftime, I saw something and I made the change. We sat down with my people. Like, you remember, you even said that. But yeah, it's fine, guys. Let me bring it to Kolani. Kolani, what are your thoughts about this conversation we're having?
Yeah, uthi bengizingeze ngene namhlanje afternoon guys. Ngifuna uku-add kule point ya Theo face. Yeah, face. Yabo, mina face I'm all about playing what the game asks you. About doing what the game asks you. Like njoba they shoot Theo face. There was a game Edlelo Sundowns. I'm not sure if it was against the way they didn't allow Sundowns to play from the back. And you saw Urulani with making a gestures with my defense, they should like play the ball over. Yes.
There was a wide that game.
Yeah, if the game doesn't allow to play from the back, why continue playing it? Yeah, bo? So I'm Steve, we're not saying Steve mustn't play from the back. If the game allows him to, yeah, he might as well just do. Yeah, because game. But if the game doesn't allow him to play from the back, why continue? Because the previous game against the Chiefs, they were caught and they lost the 3 point. This recent game as well did the same thing. First, and they couldn't come out from the back. So if it doesn't work, why you continue to doing it? Why do you continue doing it? So if the following game we give from the back, sure, they should continue because the bafuna ukudlala kanjalo vele. But game if it's on hand, like game esidlalayo, if it doesn't allow first, I understand because it doesn't make sense. Because there was even a press conference with the main thing is, why do you want to play from the back? You want to move opponent and find spaces and then penetrate. So if they want to press us and we can't play from the back, if there is one pass to bypass all the defenders, why not doing it? So but I think for the time.
Yeah, look, Kolani, it's maybe the example I can use. I'm an Arsenal fan. Unai Emery was playing out from the back. Unai Emery wanted to force playing out from the back, and it was the most painful experience. Most painful experience as Arsenal fans. Teams at the end knew that they could just press us high and then whatever, ne? Then,
Sure, I'm also an Arsenal fan, by the way.
yeah, then Arteta came in. We played from the back. Does it not look different? Does it not look coordinated? And yes, personnel is different, but you get what I'm saying.
Yes,
And we're not learning in the middle of the season, you know. But let me bring in Stormy. Stormy, I know you've got a different point of view. Tell me what you think about this. How are you?
And it is I'm good, brother. How are you?
No, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. Tell me, what are your thoughts about this conversation?
I have a different view.
Mm. You can go on, Stormy. Or is it network? Oh, network. Oh, wait, network. I'm gonna disconnect you. Try again. Try jump on again.
Nawuthi ndifuna ukuva uba iSwallows
Hey. Let me try and invite Stormy again. Maybe it'll work this time. Okay, while we wait for him, let me read the comments. Going to watch the Sundowns ladies game to watch Banyana on Monday. Hola, Lebza, ko Lucas Moripe. Ochi, I hear y'all, but the real question, how must they play? The real answer is sitting on the bench next to Coach Steve. Musa Nyatama's right there. He finished 8th last season. They were a bit comfortable. Maybe you revert back to that just so that your team can find its feet. Then you implement these things, you know, as you go later on during preseasons and stuff like that. I think it's two conversations. One conversation for me is I think PSL coaches take so long to see mistakes, so long to update. Watch Swallows in, let's say, fixture 22 of this season and compare it to how they play now. And you'll see. You'll change it at some point, but it's fine. Anyway, they take so long, right? And then the second thing that I want to bring up is urgency of teams. Because I feel as though one of the problems with our PSL right now is that it's not urgent. So Swallows going from 8th to 8th, maybe to 4th to 3rd, is going to take 7 years in our eyes instead of taking 3. And we're not going to do the things that need to be done to make it take 3 years. And I feel as though 15 of the teams in the league don't have any pressure to do anything new. That's why when I speak to you guys there, you tell me that the results, you don't necessarily care about the results and all of that stuff. And do you know what happens? You wake up 6 years later and Sundowns has won 6 leagues in a row because there's nobody who's under pressure. You know, your system is not working or your system is not optimal. Change your system. No, we've got 3 years in order to maybe do this. It's got a 3-year contract. And I sit back and I go, maybe that's the difference between certain teams in the league and other teams. Everybody points to Sundowns. SuperSport is playing CAF. Would have loved to see Stellenbosch there in all of the years that Coach Barker has had. Luckily, Kimo is going to go play in a final, right? You would have loved to see other teams come up in the time. But you know what happens? Royal AM finishes 3rd one season. They drop to 9th the next season. Same coach. Ambazulu finishes 2nd one season. Now it's time to take the second step. They drop all the way back down to wherever. You know, Pirates wins 3 trophies last season, finishes 2nd. Now they might be on course to maybe finish 3rd or 4th, let's say. No Champions League. They haven't moved forward. Nobody's saying anything, right? Kaizer Chiefs. Steve Kompella was coach of Kaizer Chiefs for 3 seasons. 3 seasons of process. It didn't go anywhere. So at what point then as a league do we say to these coaches and all of these people that, guys, do something? Mr. Oti, Arsenal gave Arteta time. What has Arteta done in that time? So Arteta finished 8th, 5th, second, right? In the 4 years. How long does it take other big teams that we're fighting against to change, right? I remember when Arteta got hired, I was like, are you willing to wait 4 or 5 years? 4 or 5 years for him to learn the things that he needs to learn as a head coach, for him to maybe go and challenge and do something. That's what I'm saying. But now in that time, in that league, Liverpool is challenging, Manchester United comes in and out, these people go do this. Manje, in our league, all 15 teams are building and rebuilding and doing all that stuff. GT Pizzo won the league in his second year. He saved them from relegation first 6 months, won in the second year. So I don't know if he counts.
He won the league on his first full season.
Yeah, first full season, gahle, yeah. Yeah, Polani, go on.
If I may jump in, to answer UGT first, umayizobuza ukuthi how Swallows should play. Swallows have a coach first in Steve Compella. Akakwazi ukuthi angabuza thina first. Coach must come up with ama solutions. If the system yakhe la ajwayele ukudlala ngayo doesn't work, yabo. So a coach has to find solution. He has to find answers from a question that have been asked a game in. Because they're getting paid to do that first. That's why they're getting paid. Ukuthi bathola ama solutions. Because they're not going to play the same way every game.
Okay.
To answer to what Kolan is also saying, like someone asked, Swallows, they are, lentile but didn't preseason. Guys, and as I said, Unyatama last season, check his stats, like I think the last 5 games, Swallows only drew one and won 4 games. You understand? You are having a team that is understanding each other. They have a winning mentality. And then you bring in a new coach. I'm not saying Steve Compella was a bad coach. You bring in a player like Uchali, of which I think Steve Compella wanted to make him the core of the team. When he comes in, Uchali, guys, we know Uchali. We know him. Shaista Chulo, but he's also good with the ball. Now the question is, he's not going to play alone, firstly. And secondly, you need to understand that you're not going to build a style of play around one player. You understand? You need players that are going to come and accommodate that style of play. What I'm saying is, what was wrong from Steve Compella saying, okay, if we play against a certain team that we know which it doesn't press high, like Abu Richards play, we will play this style of playing from the back. But when we play against the Chiefs, the Pirates, the Stellenbosch, a Cape Town City, imagine, man, we even know these teams that will press you, a Sundowns, then Musanya Tama, come with your input. How were you able to maneuver against the Chiefs last season, beating them 2-1? You understand? You are actually putting 2 heads in one basket and saying, how can we come up with solutions? Than you saying, Guti, this is my style of play and I want to play like this. The minute that style of play cracks, that's what I'm saying is, if many teams can analyze and say, okay, Phillips is their weakness, Akpe is their weakness, every time they have the ball, press them. The minute teams do that, I promise you, we're going to come here again and say, what is Steve Compella doing? Why is he not coming with solutions? Why is he not changing? Gandhi, we are saying it now. It is what you said about Uchoze. Uchoze is not like we're saying Parrot was poor. We were saying, why is he being stubborn? Why is he changing Ngama last minute? Why is he not playing to the strength of his players? Why is he bringing back Kabo Lodge? Why is he playing Abu Mahopa? And people were like, Lodge is a star player. Mahopa, Uzo Zagat. And he scored yesterday. People were happy. But here's the question. Do you see him fitting in a long run in the style of play as Pirates? Because already, how is Pirate going to score? How is Pirate scoring? It's only by moments. And you take away those moments, that means Pirate does not play. Hence, we are saying we are not against the coach, we are not against the players, but we are saying Urulani guys come here and time again and tells you, I've tried this strategy and it didn't fail. It failed, and I had to try and tell my players, try and play like this and like this. And then they win the game. You cannot then come and tell me, Guti, we have to clap our hands when our coaches are busy blaming abanye bazokutshela ukuthi ama-player ayathengiswa. Omunye uzofika ukuthi ama-player ayathengiswa. You came there knowing ukuthi ama-player ayathengiswa. Iswallows ne-Chiefs kune-relationship. I-Sundowns ne-Supersport kune-relationship. Uzokhalelani? Like kunama-contract asayiniwe phakathi u-Sundowns ne-Supersport ukuthi mfethu nina ne-development yethu nina. Asibali nje izinto eziningi. So the minute you come, you start trying to make excuses. That's where my problem comes in. Compella is making excuses.
And I also
the
think,
problem.
the other difference is that, guys, Rulani is under the most immense pressure that you can find. He doesn't have time. But one of this thing that everybody's speaking about, projects and all that, he does not have time. If he messes up, our copy are not gonna stop just quickly doing something. That's why he changes and adapts. And that's why my next question, Kolani, are our teams under enough pressure? Because Urulani is changing teams, is doing things, is finding answers. Because we are there, Naguti, guys, one mistake.
Yeah,
Is it too comfortable?
Judging by the my responses, Steve, you could see these guys are too comfortable. First. You can't say we're still gonna play like this because we have considered less goals than the other teams. Yeah, so should say now one goal is ungcono kunokuthi, like to concede less is more important again than 3 points. Yabo. So I think they're so comfortable and pressure. I'm not sure if they were like able to convince officials the team which okay guys, let's just give us a season yonke and we won't be relegated so what next season, because right now it sounds like he's planning for the next season while he said like 12 games so I said like more games angawadlala than ama-games esewadlalile kodwa yena he's more talking about it's like he's thinking more about the coming season.
And it's also, it feels like it's okay. I think the
Yes,
other
it's
part
okay,
that
and-
gets me, Coach Steve didn't feel remorseful in the loss.
Yeah, he was like, it's okay to lose the way we lost because we were playing the way we want to play. Yeah, so I think for Yena, if he lost the game, our players playing long balls, he was going to complain. But since players managed to do the thing that he wanted them to do, so he doesn't find it strange ukuthi badliwe, of which worries ama-fans like ukuthi how can you be okay with losing first, because main goal yet makudlalwa first you should get points, yabo, avoid defeat or maybe at least settle for a draw, yabo.
Theo, same thing. These coaches are not under pressure in my eyes, and it's fine. It's okay to lose. He lost 2 games in a row now. Through the one before that, one versus Chess Galaxy, lost versus Richards Bay. Pirates, on the other hand, as well, last 3 games was a draw, win-win, 2 losses, and I think it was 3 draws before that. Yeah, they're not under pressure. And is that maybe some of the issue here?
To be honest with you, which was in okay, I'm not sluggishly saying he's adapting, but I'm saying he's now understanding Guti, this is PSL, man, winning trophies does not earn you more than just a player winning against Itabi, man, a coach winning against Itabi. There's a lot that comes in hand with being a coach, especially like PSL. So I think the pressure is now feeling it, for him to come and to be honest and say the first half was boring. It shows you, he's seeing, man, if I do not pick up my sources, I'm going to have a problem here. But for Steve Compella, and another thing, guys, my question is, does Steve Compella, the way he's talking, does he think about fans, Does he think about the people who are trying to say, or maybe does he know, good now, if I the Sundowns now, my fan 57, Ananda. So maybe he's having that mentality, of having lesser fans, that's why he doesn't care. I don't want to lie to you, because you cannot tell me that you can come and say what he just said and expect, to under pressure. And another thing, OT, if this guy comes and he loses a few games in a row, I'm telling you, a lot of people that are saying let him try style of play, whatever, they are gonna come and ask, when's is the team even that is the management even telling him this team relegation? Can you not do that this season? Because here's another thing, they can give you a mandate team. Guys, we know these teams. About cheap we know they do this thing. They will give you a contract and say, don't worry, you have 3 years, 10 clades. lose against Sundowns, yeah, we don't want this nonsense. We are fired immediately, and you're like, oh, I thought I have 5 years more. But the reason why I'm saying this is because these people, they know they have investors first of all, and they have people that want their team to compete. Even though you do not win, but compete. I'm asking you a simple question, as people are saying, Swallows must not give him pressure. My question is, for the last few games, do you think when as an investor, Swallows will be happy with how Swallows is playing? So for me, I'm saying they compare like pressure. A coach is putting the pressure to PSL more than any coach. We know that for a fact. And then I can throw in Johnson. Johnson, no. Okay, Johnson akana pressure ngoba uyazi akusumsebenzi wakhe vena angahamba noma yini. So there are many of these coaches that I want Jose pressure yakhe angiboni mina ukuthi unayo, because first of all, if you can change abo makaring abadlayisa ngendlela abadlayisa ngayo, you cannot tell me that's a coach that has a pressure. Unabo Xoki, why angadlalisa aboXoki too, someone who is originally knowing Dlale back. So I'm showing you this to show you they don't have a pressure. That's why I'm saying he's already giving this. There are coaches that have already just given Sundowns league, guys, and it's said to Guti Abanyage even previously they've already created a commentary Guti, we are selling players. That's why we start. They've already created the standard of saying we know how we're gonna counter this pressure. We're gonna have excuses. Hey,
Hi, okay, no, guys. Thank you guys for joining me. I think Kitoi Kuala. Look, guys, I think if you've ever watched the show and you watch how we speak about these things and all of that stuff, you'll realize that the biggest pet peeve of mine personally is when you see something is not going well, whether it be in the long run, in the short run, in the game. I get more angry in the game. Then you change it or you adapt it, or next game, let's not repeat the same thing. I think my issue a lot of the time with the PSL and PSL coaches in general is that we even asked coach Kanu. He was here. He also said similar thing. And as the coach, he's not for it, but then he sees it a lot where you see coaches. I see something's wrong, guys. I see something's wrong. You give them grace and you say, okay, maybe this game, there was another issue, whatever. Surely, manbuyele chimini, or when you guys are speaking to your players, you go, guys, look out for that thing. The fact that Swallows now conceded the same exact goal that they conceded essentially versus the Chiefs. Not all the way the same, but one up high, left back missing, they score. At the very least, you would have sat your players down and said, Moroka, guys, there's a problem here. At Bay, you've lost the ball 8 times, 16 times in the last 2 games, right? From playing out from the back. Surely we have to sit down and tweak how we play out from the back. Surely we need to do something. This is why whenever we're on the show, a lot of the times we speak about Rulani so highly, because he will see something happening on the pitch and change it. You get what I mean? We've spoken about Sundowns' weakness, for example, with AB at left center back and getting dragged out. Do you know what he did? In the same matches, either he takes him out or he makes him left wing back to hide him and his inconsistencies and bring in somebody so he doesn't get hurt. That is a tactical change. How many PSL matches are we going to watch in the PSL where you don't see tactical changes? You don't see things where coaches have seen something and then they're going, oh no, I've got an answer for it and I'm going to answer it like this. You get what I mean? And it's not because of quality players and all of that stuff. You coach these guys every day. You should know their strengths, their weaknesses. You should know a plan A, plan B, plan C, plan D. If this goes wrong, we do that. If they zig, we zag. If we see somebody is weak over and over again, we're being caught out right here, we change something. But if Coach Steve, as experienced as he is, as well traveled in the game, he's been Sundowns, Free State Stars, Bloemfontein Celtic, he's been years in. If all he can say to me when he comes out is, no, I'm going to be stubborn with this thing, then it's like, oh, but Steve, Noma game iti 1 when uzoti 2 up until. At what point do you change it? At what point do you adapt? And that is the problem with PSL coaches. We said this about Jose. Jose and those guys can field the same team with the same play, with the same everything, weeks after weeks after weeks after weeks, with the same problem that he's going to come out and say the same thing. There was a time, literally, guys, when we were watching Pirates matches here and I'd play press conferences and he'd say the exact same thing week after week after week after week. And I'm like, oh, but guys, you're a coach. Aren't you meant to be fixing those things? Aren't you meant to be, okay, we're seeing a weakness here. We're doing this. We're doing, like, what is the job? What is the job? Musa says, performance analyst, biokinetics coach, sports directors. You have to do your job. And part of your job is coaching. So I'm sorry if I'm sorry if I judge Coach Steve, for watching a Chiefs game where they lost the ball 8 times in dangerous places, where Chiefs, the only reason they didn't concede was because Chiefs couldn't take advantage, and then Chiefs finally scored a goal through that thing. Then you go against Pirates and you do the exact same thing. The exact same thing. So at what point, guys? At what point? And maybe Coach Steve is the easy target now because he's playing out from the back. You guys get it. Most of the coaches do the exact same thing every single week. How many times have I sat here and complained about Ikeza Chiefs? How many times? Chibavairo's on the pitch, but you're crossing the ball. We don't have a midfield presence. There's no one in the midfield when people have the ball. When you trap the ball as the Chiefs player at any side, you don't have support. Nobody comes to the ball. Right? Same problems. Last year, we saw Dove playing centre back. It got Ata demoted. It got Ntseko didn't necessarily do it, but he did in some games. He got fired. Kevin Johnson comes in, does the exact same thing. And you're like, Mara guys, at what point, even to the point where your predecessors got fired, at what point? And that's what I'm asking, because then it feels like a lot of these coaches, Nabo, as Utio said, I like the point that Utio raised here. I like the point that Utio raised, where he said the coaches feel as though they don't have pressure up until they get fired. You feel as though Chipper's with you all the way, and you let the results go away, and you're trying to build your beautiful processes and stuff. Then you get fired. And it's out of the blue. It must feel sorry for you. No, guys, I'm sorry. The PSL, honestly. And the part that always gets to me more than anything else when we speak about these type of things, guys, we watch football for 90 minutes a day, most probably. We talk football for the 2 hours that we talk here, the 4 hours on Monday to Wednesday. Ne? We talk football. We see the issues. You see the issues. It's right there for everyone to see. How about the coaches, the analysts, as almost I was saying, the analysts, the technical directors, there's Banban, there's no one who sees these issues. There's no one who's actively working to fix these things. We must wait up until a time where one day Swallows will wake up and magically be a number 2 team. Richards Bay will wake up one day and be a number 2 team. Raleigh Umaduka will wake up one day and know how to do this and know how to do that with the players. It doesn't happen like that. You have to give them pressure. You have to. Supersport is lucky that Gavin Hunt has his own pressures on his own career in his own head. They're lucky. Otherwise, I don't think they'd care. And it's 15 teams that don't care. Steve is catching flames right now. Coach Steve is catching flames right now. But there's 14 other coaches who are coaching as if, man, there's nothing happening. We're just chilling. You were just living life. All of that stuff. Sundowns literally went away for almost 2 months and we're still number 1. Sundowns is 27 points right now. Perfect record right now. And then later on, when the league ends and they've won it by 16 points and we're asking questions, it's going to be these moments where we should be asking the coaches, Coach Steve, don't sacrifice games. Coach Banbane, please don't sacrifice games. Because that team is gone. That team is gone. Mina nilokhu niyashayana la ngama beautiful football wenu with the nice words. Niyashayana. 14 teams, siyashayana. This year, this one finishes third. Next year, it's a different one. Next year, the one who was third this year is now 17th. Guys, 14th, 13th. Guys, come on, guys. I'm sorry. But anyway, yeah, with 4 games in hand, Theo. No, it's not just about Steve, but I think Steve is the poster boy for this conversation because he came out and he said those words. As experienced as Coach Steve is. Coach Steve has probably been, if we look at coaches in the league, Gavin is probably currently the one with the most experience, most years. Steve is probably number 2. And it's not the first time Steve has coached. Free State Stars wasn't playing modern football because he didn't want to play modern football. He understood that, hey, I have to get these results. Anyway, guys, I'll see you guys then at 7:30. I'm going to close it now. The show is Monday to Friday, 7:30 in the afternoon, and Monday to Wednesday at 8 p.m. We're going to do the watch-along of the Sundowns match tonight at 7:30. So please jump back in and we'll watch the Sundowns play and have a conversation about them while we are watching the game. But anyway, guys, thank you so much. I'll see you guys then at 7:30.